Yeah, people suck, dude.
I know.
Well, I was in the middle of a stream, my phone died. I don't know why. The battery said it was good. Then all of a sudden it just went pew to 0. But that's the old cell phone. That's what I get. I need to get a streaming camera. I need an actual streaming camera. They make those?
Yeah, I have like 4 of them.
Do they actually stream right to the internet, or do you got to go through other stuff?
You can just stream right through the internet. You have to use an app on the computer or something like that. You have to have something, obviously, to connect to the internet.
So yeah, I got to go with something else. Right. They need they need to make them that are like this, that just like can connect to Wi-Fi automatically and stream.
Yeah, those are called cell phones.
Oh. Where did I get one of those? Where would I find one of those? Is that this thing right here?
Yeah, that's what you're using. It works great.
It didn't work that great. It fucking died on me. I mean, it's old. It's an old LG. Did I make it 30 seconds without swearing? I think so. And unfortunately, I told the thing to stream in landscape, and it rotated the portrait on me as I started the stream. So I don't know. Sorry about the portrait. You know, but portrait. Ooh. So I was talking about Phantom Knock in the other stream to somebody who asked about Phantom Knock, and my phone died. So I'm gonna start over so that the whole idea is there, and hopefully by the time I get to the point where I was, the guy that asked the question has arrived in the stream. So we're talking about engine knock, how you detect it, and what you're supposed to do about it. So start off by saying, what is a knock sensor? Knock sensor is a piezoelectric microphone bolted to an engine block. And all it really is just a crystal with a weight on top of it, encased in a housing, and then bolted down. So what happens is vibrations on the engine cause it to move up and down minutely. And that weight puts pressure on top of the crystal as the engine vibrates. That weight squeezes the crystal, which then outputs a voltage. It's really neat, honestly, to think about it. I could squeeze a crystal and get electrons out of it. And then unsqueeze and squeeze, unsqueeze, and continue to get electron flow through this crystal. It's really neat to think about. But that's all a microphone is. And that's all a knock sensor is. So all a knock sensor is doing is listening to vibrations. And those vibrations transmit through the engine block, through the cylinder head, out the exhaust. Anything that's bolted to it can carry these sound waves, these vibrations. So if the engine is running, it's making a lot of noise. You have valves open and shutting, you have pistons going up and down, you got combustion events occurring. You have a lot of stuff going on, making noise in the engine that this microphone is picking up. So I have to figure out which sounds it's hearing are the sounds that are the sound that's knock. So I said before, there's 2 things you need to do. One of those things is to calibrate it for the right frequency. The operating frequency of knock depends largely on the bore, because it's based on the speed at which the wave would travel across it and then bounce back and bounce back. So now I have, based on the distance, I have a resonance that forms. And that resonance changes with the density of the charge in the cylinder too. So I can't just listen for one frequency, I have to listen for a range of frequencies. It's going to be, at the lowest density at the lower speed to a highest density and a higher speed. This is the range I'm going to get. And based on the bore density of the charge in there. So I take this frequency and I apply a filter or a discrete amplifier to that signal to just bring up that frequency range above the other crap. Now, however, I have all these things in the engine making noise, many of them in that same frequency range. And as I explained earlier, if you have headers on a car, you take the factory manifolds off, you put headers, tubular headers that have thin-walled steel on them and all that, you hear this tick, 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 tick sound coming from the engine. That header sound that a lot of domestic guys call it. Sounds almost like an exhaust leak, but it's not. It's this ticking sound. And the ticking sound you're hearing is the exhaust valve shutting. Well, the exhaust valves, when they shut, they go clap onto the valve seat. What's up?
Bung.
Oh, okay.
Gone.
Yeah. Sweet. We just gotta do some slots and some shits.
Not too bad. I'm pretty rusty on aluminum.
Aluminum's kind of a cunt. What's all
you
that
don't do
shit
it all
right
the
there?
time? Backsplash.
Oh, okay.
All the soot from the aluminum. So like that's where I was welding. So
Yeah.
on the back side of it, it doesn't have any gas flow.
Gotcha.
So it just gets all shitty.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm just drill and tap that.
Alright, be careful these little guys. Don't want to. That looks pretty hard.
I
One
don't
puncture in
know
a
what
tube.
that is.
Suck to have a punctured new radiator.
No.
The fins aren't so bad as long as the tube doesn't get punctured next to it.
I don't know what that is. I don't remember hitting it.
All right. Okay, so we gotta tune it for frequency, and then we need to figure out how to make it not hear everything else that makes that frequency. The valve's shut, they hit the valve seat, they produce a noise, tap, and that tap sound resonates inside the cylinder as well. So we start to get frequencies that overlap between detonation and valve events. So how do I get that noise? How do I selectively choose which is which? Well, the way you do this is through a knock window. Now I know that my valves typically are going to shut so many degrees before open. I mean, so many degrees before top dead center, but then shut before bottom dead center. And then the exhaust valves are going to open and then shut at another point in time. So what I have to do is choose a window that is not during a valve event. Now, with variable cam timing cars, that can be difficult because you can have a variable cam like AVCS is the Subaru version of variable cam timing. You advance it, and that's fine. Advancing is no big deal. But when you start to retard the cam, you bring that center line, that valve shutting event, closer to when closer to when combustion is happening on a neighboring cylinder, right? It isn't the cylinder that's happening at that point in time because the valves are shut during the combustion event on that cylinder, but next to it, maybe even closer to the knock sensor, is another cylinder that's undergoing its intake stroke or its exhaust stroke or something along those lines. And so if I'm listening at the same time those valves shut, I'm like, oh, that was knock. But it wasn't, it was a valve. So I have to choose a knock window that is hopefully strict enough to not pick up valve events, but also lenient enough to not miss knock events. Well, in order to do that, I have to know a few things about detonation. One, I gotta know, when does detonation usually occur? This is, for some reason, not very well known, and I will admit that I was a culprit of this until around 2009 or so. I didn't really understand this. I always thought that knock was just any time that the charge ignited absent of the spark event. Not necessarily before it, but if I have another spot in there that ignites and then lights it off, right? And by definition, that is somewhat true. It is a secondary combustion event that happens in the cylinder post initial combustion event. What I was not understanding or didn't know at the time was that knock usually happens really close to peak cylinder pressure. If it wasn't close to peak cylinder pressure and it happened at like half of normal cylinder pressure, then that's just it's gonna knock every time. It's gonna blow up every time, right? Knock is like you just barely break over a threshold. I just cross over a threshold and knock happens. And so that threshold is heat and pressure. Heat, relatively constant, but pressure is what changes with ignition advance quite a bit. And yes, EGTs can change some and that kind of stuff too. But the speed of the piston moving combined with the combustion speed gives you a resultant cylinder pressure. And that pressure spikes up. And if that combination of heat and pressure and total energy in the mixture is below basically the octane rating of the fuel, then no detonation would occur. But if a localized hotspot combined with that pressure in the cylinder is enough to start another reaction in the cylinder because the octane is too low or because the pressure is too high or the heat's too high or whatever, then it'll go. Well, when does peak cylinder pressure happen? Usually around 20 degrees after top dead center, somewhere in that range. So I know that knock typically occurs sometime after TDC, sometime after a combustion event, or after the spark event, So now I go, okay, well, now if it's only happening 20 degrees after TDC, then I don't got to start listening to it until 5 or 10 degrees after TDC. Now what happens is that means that the valve events that happen on this side of TDC, I've cut those out now. I'm good. So it's difficult really to get that window in the right spot, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes that window would be so narrow to avoid a valve event that you'd likely miss a lot of knock events. And I guess that's the difficulty with knock control. That's the biggest difficulty of the whole thing is trying to figure out, like, if you're listening for it and you hear knock, well, you could tell. You hear that difference in tone. And it's weird to think that the human ear can hear knock better than the knock sensor can. And I don't want to say better. I just want to say that the human, oh yeah, my hands are dirty as fuck right now, but the nails are clean. See that? Nails are clean. Just cut them yesterday, actually. I'm on this collagen thing. Holy crap, does it freaking make my shit grow fast. But no, hands are dirty because I work on the car. Thanks for getting me off topic now. Thanks a lot. Is there any other shit talking in chat I want to check out really quick? No, it's just Paul. Just Paul. I actually thought of you again because you gave me a complex about it actually the other day. They were getting long because this skin, muscle, protein, collagen thing that I take every day has made them just grow so freaking fast. And I was looking at them, I was like, oh, they're pretty long right now. But they're clean. My nails are always clean because I almost never work on cars. But today I'm doing it. I don't need you to groom me and remind me to groom myself. I do a good job. What would I do without you? I'd stay on topic is what I do without you. I'd fucking stay on topic, Paul. Anyway, so it's difficult to try and get the window in the right place and not have a big valve event. And if you have a camshaft or you have a valve control system that's able to retard the intake cam a lot and get it after TDC in an effort of minimizing overlap, then you're going to have an issue where that window now is inside, or a valve event is inside that window, and then that could be a problem. So,
Your SVX in my backyard, does it run?
yes.
It has the EG33 in it?
Yes. No. I told you no already. That's my engine that I have.
You can have it back. I just want to borrow it.
Yeah, but we need another one anyways.
I understand that, but the one that I was going to buy isn't going to work out, and I don't think I'm going to find another one in 2 weeks.
What about the $1,200 one in Portland?
That's pretty sketch. It doesn't have a harness. We
Don't need a harness.
runs. Yeah, I know. What if we go through all this, start up, it goes... We know yours doesn't, because I remember starting it when I helped you tow it.
That's right.
And then we grabbed another engine. Are you on your YouTube live?
Yes.
Well, you can't give any spoilers.
Apparently I am.
No. They can't know anything about the top secret filming project that's gonna happen, that we're gonna break records. They can't know anything.
Nothing.
You can't let them have any hype.
Nope.
If word gets out.
It has nothing to do with my SVX.
Yeah, nothing.
And nothing to do with...
You're already giving too much. They're gonna figure out that you're gonna put the thing in the thing.
No, that's not going to happen. I would
Yeah.
never. That'd be stupid. It's too hard. I saw on the internet that's way too hard to do. It takes like a year or something.
Dom, you should not try to prove anyone wrong. You should just...
I never try and prove anyone
you
wrong.
should just let it be.
I never do anything with the intent of proving somebody wrong or showing that things could be
It's not like
done.
we're gonna do garage build 2.
Never.
Considering we found the engine in my backyard.
It's my car.
Yeah, well...
I mean, it's in your
To
yard.
be fair, you've lived there for like 2 years.
Yeah, it's been 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's been there. And then...
I have been searching the world when all I had to do was look out my bedroom window.
Yes, I know. That's why my price list that shows what this project that's not happening is going to cost. The engine specs section for my build was 0, and for anyone else's build had a value there
Yeah,
because I already have the engine, and the forged internals was on another spot,
yeah.
which I already have also.
I don't know.
We're not going to do this
I don't
one.
wanna- I don't
No,
understand.
no. This is going to be.
Well, I mean, we're not
I
doing
mean,
it. We're not doing it at all.
If we were
hypothetically
gonna
we
do
were
something
do
like this, yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to actually build the engine. I don't want to just throw it in and make it run and put some boost on it and be like, yeah, look, we got this done in like fucking 4 days or
You
whatever.
see if the windows still work.
I'm pretty sure the windows will work, yeah.
The car's been off for like a year, so
It's been off for a long time.
I know,
Really
so I
heavy
don't know.
part.
I don't know.
I don't
There's a lot
know.
of myths out
Hopefully
there.
the modules don't go retroactive.
Yeah. There's a lot of myths. I mean, facts.
Right.
Not bad information or
Right.
myths there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of facts out there that we need to work with.
Well, it's a good thing that I don't have the title of this video the same as the title of the last video.
Garage built too?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if
So,
I can get shirts made.
yes, I have an SVX. Yes, there's an engine in it. Yes, it runs.
Alright.
The transmission is blown as fuck because, well, it's an
So
SVX.
I tried buying another one today, but it didn't work out.
Alright.
Unless she messes with me tomorrow, because I'll still try to buy it tomorrow if it does. But
Well, I contacted the JDM place that we contacted. They don't have any.
Tanner's calling Spalding's tomorrow, all the junk fairs.
Let's see if they have it. Alright. Yeah, and then, like I said, dude, that $1,200 one.
I would rather not gamble it. I'd rather just put that.
But at least we could build that one if we had to build it.
Well, yeah, but we can do that with yours that we're already planning on building.
Sure, but there's other people who want to do this.
I know.
I mean, when they don't see that we
I-
didn't do it at no time ever,
I know.
they're not going to want to do it,
I just have it scheduled.
and
out
then
for
we're not
those
going to be able to
2
sell
weeks.
one.
I know.
if
I
you
just
don't
have it
have it.
scheduled out for those 2 weeks, so I want to make sure we have the parts to do it.
2 weeks.
Oh, you're giving away all.
He
of
keeps saying so much.
Yeah, we. Great.
Great.
Now the whole world's gonna know our plan.
Damn it.
Dom probably has 2 million viewers
Damn
right
it.
now.
Yep. Divided by a whole bunch of millions.
His people are always divided. They can never agree. They're very divided. But
What do you use for your streaming platform?
YouTube.
his cell phone.
My cell phone. It's a streaming camera. Chase told me about it. Anyways. Can I talk about knock now, please?
What?
Say, can I talk about knock now, please?
Knockonopolis?
Knock now, please. That was the future evil.
Said knock
No,
now.
you're catching it right now, Jordan. NVIDIA
So feel
fits
free to
fine.
use
It just cracks a lot.
What you were about.
Yeah, I have to go with Satson on this one. The grin speed fits probably the best of all of them, largely due to the flex section and everything else, and big flanges and all that. I use grin speed on all the cars I do. Hey, Justin, if you find a EG33, let me know. I need more. I need more of them. Anyways, so yeah, back to knock again. I'm gonna try and finish this knock conversation up real quick. If you're even in here, I don't know. Are you watching my shit, or are you going? Getting the springs are in my car. The window, to put the window. Okay, so we got the window. Now what we have to do is figure out what sounds are what. So we use the window to make sure we don't pick up any valve vents. So what's phantom knock? Well, phantom knock is anytime the knock sensor puts out a voltage high enough for the ECU to think that knock is occurring inside that window. That's really it, right? So whether it's going to be, but it's got to meet that frequency and amplitude specification for the ECU to think that it's an event. One thing that changes is resonance. Now, the origin of the sound doesn't change. Oh, good, some spam, sweet. The origin of the sound is detonation. It's the bore, it's the density, and all of that, and that's the same. But what does change, however, is the resonance of the engine itself when you change components on it. So if you have the factory header on there, that's a big chunk of cast iron bolted to it. It's heavy, it absorbs vibrations, right, and it dampens signals. Then when you, oh, I thought you were trying to finger my butthole. I thought that was some kind of like maneuver.
This one. Well, I'm just paying you back.
Pay me back? For what?
2 months ago when you did it? It's pushing
Push
the
on the
car.
cars.
Hey, is your shit alright? Who has the cleaner hands?
Not me.
Get dirt.
Definitely Kevin.
Yeah, have Kevin move my car then.
Hey guys, I'll get the keys to Kevin. Kevin, you moved on the car?
So, anyway, so I have to be inside that window, have to be the right frequency, the right amplitude for the ECU to think it's a knock event, and it could be fucking anything. Anything piston slap that's smacking against the cylinder wall that happens at the time, because the pistons are changing direction at TDC, right? They change direction, they come down, the skirts can bang against the cylinder wall as the rod's changing direction, it's pulling the piston down, right? So, rattling heat shield, like somebody said in here, Yeah, fucking knock, right? Knock knock jokes. That there's a common misconception, however, that a knock sensor is somehow related to rod knock, and it's not. Now, the action that causes the knock sensor to activate, being engine knock, can eat rod bearings and eventually cause rod knock. But I had multiple people say, I don't understand why my engine failed. I watch my export all the time and I never get any knock. Why do I have rod knock? And I'm like, whoa, those aren't related at all. They're just confused as to what a knock sensor is picking up. Now, you can have, yes, ping. You can have knock sensor or rod knock that's so bad it sets off your knock sensor. That can happen, but that's just because, again, as I said before, anytime you get a noise that's amplitude, volume, and frequency inside that window, it's going to trigger the ECU to think that a knock event has occurred. So if it's not actually knock or detonation, then it is phantom knock. If it's actually knock, then it's fucking knock, right? Question. Ping. Yes, that is ping is what we're talking about. That's people call it pinging, people call it detonation, and they call it knock. It's all the same thing. What is not the same thing is pre-ignition. Pre-ignition is different. That is the spontaneous combustion of the air-fuel mixture or charge before a spark event, and that is quite frequently catastrophic the first time it happens. Negative 2.8 to be afraid of. That makes no sense. Negative 2.8, that tells me nothing. If you're at idle and you tip in the throttle and you get negative 2.8, so what? If you're leaving a stop sign casually or you're on the highway cruising and you get negative 2.8, so what? If you're at full throttle at 19 pounds of boost at 4,000 RPM and you get negative 2.8, that's a concern. All of those indications on an access port, which is why I fucking hate when people that have no idea what they're looking at keep that shit mounted on their dash and they're just staring at it like, I'm waiting for something to happen. Ah! Negative 4! Right? Like, every indication on there is dependent on context. Every single one of them. Air-fuel ratio at idle. If it's 11, shit's fucked up. But if you're at full throttle, it's 11, that's right. If you're at idle and it's 14.7, that's perfect. If you're at full throttle and it's 14.7, shit's fucked up, right? So it's all completely contextual, and most people have no idea what they're looking at, and they have no idea what it means. And honestly, if you knew what all those indications should be at all times, you'd be tuning it yourself. That's how I feel about it. I clear my values when go wide of the throttle, always zero feedback, cruise around town, yeah, so no big deal at all. Who cares? If it hit 4 or something, cruise around town, I would give no shits, right? Because how much energy is in a knock event? Well, if you think about it, when you're cruising, your duty cycle is like 8. Your inject duty cycle, we'll say 8. That's the value I always use because that's about what it is with a lot of injectors. So I'm cruising down the road, 8% duty cycle. We already said that knock doesn't happen until usually 20 degrees after top dead center when peak cylinder pressure occurs. So if I'm cruising, my ignition timing is like 50, okay? So like 40 to 50 degrees, my ignition timing in the cruise. So that means 50 plus 20 is 70. That means I've had combustion happening for 70 degrees before a knock event happens. How much air fuel is left in the cylinder if it's been going for 70 degrees at a slow engine speed? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot of charge left, not a whole lot of energy in that charge to suddenly be imparted on the engine and break it. And in fact, there's less energy left in that charge than you have in a normal combustion event at high power, obviously. Now, if I am at high power and my duty cycle is like 80%, right? Now I have a whole lot of air fuel mixture in the cylinder to begin with. And my ignition timing is typically like 10 to 14, somewhere around there. So my combustion event's only been happening for 24 degrees or so, or 34 degrees, I mean. And granted, burn speed is a lot faster, which is why there's less time in the first place. But still, there's still, we'll even say there's half. If there's half of your air fuel left in the cylinders, it's a lot more than the entire combustion process of 8%, is what I meant to say. So I have a lot more energy being released spontaneously and suddenly into the cylinder. That's when damage occurs. At 8% duty cycle, I give no fucks. You hear every Honda Civic and Hyundai Elantra in the middle of summer leaving a stoplight, just going, just fucking detonate on every cylinder twice per revolution. Like, it's stupid how much those things will knock leaving a stoplight. And those things will go 300 fucking thousand miles without having a single problem and knocking like that all the time. Because there's no energy in it. There's no energy in that knock event. You know, I can take this scraper here and hit this window 1,000,000 times and I'll never hurt the fucking window. But I can take a hammer and hit this window once and it ain't coming back, right? So those 8% duty cycle, you know, low inject duty cycle knock events, like, so fucking what? You're not hurting anything because you haven't gone past the fracture toughness of the glass or the piston, or the glass piston. So, yeah, it's all about how much energy is in that event, or is available in that event for it to happen. Here you go, Paul. Dirty my finger. Dirty finger. Everyone is with a mounted cob is a pro tuner. No, everyone with a laptop is a pro tuner. Have laptop will tune. Major knock value when flat foot shifting. Okay, so that's different too. That's typically noise that happens because of movement in the engine bay, or pistons wobbling around or something like that. It's not often that you get an actual knock event on something like that. I mean, when you let off for a split second, or if it cuts timing during a flat foot shift, like, there's actually no combustion there. So what's gonna cause noise? If it's at the onset of the reapplication of power, if it's delayed a little bit after, then it's possible you could get some knock, you know. But there's definitely going to be chassis noise associated with that. Now there is, if you have, say, a front mount and a mass airflow sensor, there is a period of time when you let off the throttle that the volume that's in there, that's pressurized in the intercooler and all the piping, it depressurizes into the engine, and you don't get fuel for that because that air was already metered. And it was metered on the front side when you got into the throttle and you suck the air in past the mass airflow sensor. Some of it goes into the engine and some of it goes into pressurizing all that piping. So now I have extra air go past the sensor, goes into the piping and the intercooler, but doesn't go into the engine because it stays in there to hold the pressure up above ambient. After the pressure stabilizes, then the amount of air passing that sensor equals the amount of air going into the engine. But when the pressure in that piping is transitory, it's moving, the goes-ins and the goes-outs are not the same, and that's in both directions. If I'm depressurizing that piping into the engine, then that air was already metered 1,000 cycles ago, and now it's going to the engine, there's no fuel for it. So it's possible, if you're doing a fast shift or you have a lift knock, a shift knock or lift knock, it's very possible that's something that's due to the fact that now you're having an even leaner surge than you would have normally, because you're not getting as much fuel in the engine as you would get normally, because a lot of it has already been metered a long time ago, and the fuel's already gone in and gone out for that air. And you can see that on dynographs. If you look at dynographs, you see a lot of them on front mounts. See, buddy? High boost front mounts, or really big front mounts, but still a mass airflow sensor. You'll see the air fuel come down, dip low, then come back up and flatten out, right? So you see that. Some of that's wall wetting. Most of that is the fact that you've pulled in that air and you've read it already. Now, people use the wall wetting tables to reduce that, and the only reason they're doing that is that they're trying to prevent that dip from happening. So they take the wall wetting tables and they dumb them down a bit in that area. Now, you're not addressing the issue, you're band-aiding the issue, right? You're fixing the air fuels with a different value, with a different table. And that's something that people don't understand. They go, well, it's the wall wetting. Well, no, that's how you fudge it, is by adjusting the wall wetting. But what you're really doing is you're making the ECU numb to the rapid transient of air past the mass airflow sensor, and telling it, don't put all that fuel in, just put less in there. But then, however, on the backside, when you're depressurizing, you still have all that air that was metered before, all of a sudden going to the engine and not getting the fuel needed for it. So on shift knocks, you have to really just analyze it and figure out if it is in fact a real knock event or if it's from something like that, from being lean for too long on the reapplication of the throttle because you're getting unmetered air in there. So, so for your particular instance, I don't know which one it is, but those are the aspects you have to think about with that. That makes so much sense. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. I told that to a guy that works at Cobb like fucking 7 years ago. Oh, there's no way there's no way that happens. I'm like, all right, well, I'm sorry that physics happens differently in your world than mine. But I think maybe he's come around since then. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's up?
I had some thinking.
You got some thinking?
Yeah.
Nice. Thinking about what?
So on a certain gray car, it may or may not be getting a certain engine.
Yes.
I need to do the VRZ radiator setup so that it just transfers over.
You want to do what?
The VRZ radiator.
Yeah.
Recessed one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But we have those, right?
Yes.
We have one of them,
We
or
have
both,
one- yeah, we only need one of them for this. So
for the radiator part.
yeah,
Okay, and what do you want to do with it?
I need to finish it first. So that was another thing added to the thing. Because all of his factory radiator stuff is not there anymore.
Right.
So we can't just plop a radiator in it.
Did you cut the mounts off too?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything,
Whatever.
it's already most of the way done. It just needs
Sure.
to actually be.
That is not a 2010 Corvette. Just looking down.
Don't we need to, is it not?
No.
So,
It looks like an RX-7.
Yeah.
I think it is. Does that engine take EJ accessories? I believe it does.
Yes, mostly, yeah.
I mean, as far as alternator power steering pump.
Yeah, that stuff should fit.
Okay. So should be fine then.
Yeah, I think,
Plus the recessed radiator gives the extra room.
yeah, we'll have plenty of room in there, I think. He doesn't have AC, so, you know, bloop.
VA has a lot of room.
I think GR has more.
We're
I think the VA,
no VA has more.
the front one, and the GR has more height-wise. One has more one direction, one more the other.
Yeah, so the VA hood line is lower.
Right, the VA is low, yeah, right, it has more, yeah, that's what it was, right. But there's more room in front of the engine. It's like a 2010 Camaro. I need to wash my fucking hands, I got grease on. Here, hold my phone.
Which way do I point it?
Whatever you want, the screen shows you looking at.
There's millions of people watching this continuous video.
There's probably 12.
So me and Tanner were talking. I'm gonna hook the AC lines up as if it worked. So AC compressor, the lines in the body. Obviously, they're not a condenser.
Okay.
You know, just so it's as street car, you know, we could make it one if we wanted to.
Sure.
It's one of those. Oh, you had to get rid of this, or you had. No, we didn't.
Right.
Um, yeah.
But we didn't have to, sure.
Well, we didn't have to. It's just not on this one.
Right.
So, but we can have it in there to prove that you can. You know that it's there.
Okay.
Sub all the lines and everything.
I like it.
What else was I thinking?
Intercooler?
Yes,
Do
that
we
was
need an
another.
intercooler or do you want us to do straight unintercooled?
I'm fine either way.
Okay. Let's just see how it goes. I mean, I like having intercooler overall. I like having air water in it anyways.
Or we could just buy an air to water. They're like $120.
I have
for
two
just a
cords
small
right now.
one.
I have two cords.
Yeah, there's just a lot of fab work stuff, and they're cheap.
I mean, we could throw plates on it. Like, we can do mine for my car really fancy if we want to do it, and that one's just a generic fucking here's
That's
here's
okay.
out.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, it doesn't
We
get
can do
crazy. So,
You can run the Elder block one.
what's that? Oh, the heat exchanger?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I meant the actual heat exchanger for the inside the actual intercooler itself.
Oh.
Yeah. But we're for that car, we're actually using a BRZ radiator for that too. But we're going to use a shitty one because it has less fin density and will restrict the airflow to the radiator less.
Yep. We'll just stack them.
So
together.
we're going to use a BRZ Mishimoto one.
Just put it like half inch or a quarter inch away from each other.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's going to be in front of it where the AC condenser is, and that's going to be for the air water intercooler. But
I'll make
since
that
it has
one
less
like
fin
5
density, it has less pressure drop across it. We'll still get a good radiator flow to it. So just a little,
Yeah. And they're cheap. They're like $100.
yeah, super cheap. That is some thorough hand drying.
I went
Your show now, couch guy.
What?
This guy, when I hand you the phone, he said, your show now, couch guy.
Yep.
That's Lane.
Yeah.
Lane's the fabricator.
No one wants that kind of show.
No, yeah, right? Well, it's not a black couch. It's not a black couch.
Are you casting me right now?
He fabricates some stories, let me tell you.
That's what I was saying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The other day I thought I was sweeping water.
It's not what he meant, but now he's like, oh. It's not a black casting couch.
Oh, sorry.
Your valve springs are in my car in the passenger seat. Whenever you want them. Just roll numbers.
Another thing, the throttle body faces backwards on that.
Correct, it does. Some people cut the plenums in half and flop them around and have it come the other direction.
Have you seen the Easy on Cars guy? He has the Hawkeye with one in it.
No.
It's the twin turbo one. The turbos are in the bumper.
No, but there's a lot of guys that do that.
Yeah.
Like ASF Machine did one like that back in 2016.
He's like a little garage guy.
Gotcha.
He's in Minnesota. The only other place the Subarus are.
I should go get my doctorate in anxiety port medicine.
I hear it's kind of on your way.
You do anxiety port counseling, just like
Anxiety
that.
port counseling. We did that already. That's what we did earlier.
Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong.
Just look
All in
inside.
your head.
Just look inside. It's a Subaru. It's gonna blow up anyways. So, you know, if you worry about it every day, you're gonna be miserable every day.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
just keep $5,000 stashed away all the time, so when it finally goes, you're ready.
Yep.
I tell people like, I spent all my money modifying this car. I'm like, whoa. Then don't install any of it. Like, if you can't afford to fix it, don't modify it. Like, just let it sit for a while. Like, save a little more money
Well,
up.
500 horse, but I only have $8 to spend.
Yeah, I get those a lot of those too. Yeah. This is the crew. This is the crew right here. Oh, this is still me. Camera didn't switch around.
Look at
Oh.
that. He took
There we
all
go.
the credit. He goes, this is the crew.
So this is the crew.
This is the crew.
Right here.
Oh, it's
This
just
is the
me.
crew right here. Yeah.
She's like,
Chase, and Tanner, and Igor, and Lane. Where's Kevin?
He left.
God damn
He
it.
went to play Fortnite to get past level 19.
Oh, that's cool.
18 wins or something.
Yeah, they had 19
So
wins
that's-
last night.
Hey, did any of your viewers?
So that's the easy.
Oh, so they did the same thing then, because it's so the easy manifold is or EG manifold is cool because it's sloped, right? And it's lower in the front than it is in the back. And so if you can't just flip it around because then it becomes taller in the front as in the back. It doesn't clear hood lines. So you gotta like cut and modify shit to make it work.
I know. I just thought.
And so I think some guys, like I said, cut the plenum right down the middle on both sides evenly, then flip it around and re-weld it in place. I think
So
they're pretty
I
symmetrical.
think he's running 2 TD05s
Yeah.
Yeah.
and 3000 GT.
Well, we can just run stock around the new pistons. Fine.
Oh yeah, side mounts.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow, that looks like ass down here, the bumper.
yeah.
That's-
He drives his car. It's just a daily thing. It's not like a race car.
Sure, sure.
But you guys should go check him out. He built it a long time ago, so all the shit's already uploaded.
Nice.
So you can go watch the whole thing.
I thought no one's done this before. No one's ever done this before. It's super hard.
Yeah. this guy also knows nothing. He's a backyard mechanic, and his ran first try.
Nice. What ECUs you got?
I think he's running the E shit. Oh,
Time
so
is
there's your
What time is it?
numbers taken.
My wife's calling me. Hopefully it's not too important.
It's 5:30.
I should probably go. Let me see. Anything else in this stream I need to take care of? Is it a wagon?
Yes.
Okay, then this guy's I've seen some. Jordan said he's seen some of them.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, he
Anyways.
built it a long time ago.
right on.
He's a pretty cool dude.
Cool. Well, I think that's everything. We talked about the turbo kit in the last video. We're working on that, getting the downpipe really nice. Got to get the external wastegate mounted, and work on the turbo drain. We did the radiator. We did the tilt pass stuff. I told you about that. Discussed phantom knock, what it is, and actual knock. How ECUs detect knock, why and what it is. And the only thing I didn't show you was some initial and final graphs for reactants and products, because it's all combustion really is. It's just oxidation of fuel. So you have reactants being oxygen and
I got some
a
box here. You see this?
a carbon chain of some sort, and then
So weird when you Google it. There's like tons of people that have done it.
weird, and then the products. So
All right, well, I gotta go.
you have an initial state and a final energy state, and then you have how much energy it takes to initiate the reaction. That's either a spark event or whatever is the cause of the knock. So see you guys. Bye, Chase.
Bye,
And then the other one is, as you guys probably heard, Chase and I are acquiring another EG33 because we want to do some stuff with it.
If anyone has one.
Yes, but we need one. So if anyone's been sitting on the EG and they want to get rid of it, then please hit us up. We're looking for another one, and we want to have some fun with it. I have pistons and rods that I had made for an EG, I think 11 years ago. 10 years ago, so it was 2012, yeah. So I had pistons and rods made for it, plus 2 rods and custom pistons made for an EG33 back in 2012, and I never used them. Just picked up an SVX using the 33 in my 09 Legacy GT.
The geisha
Right on,
that
that
he
should be
does,
fun.
they're like
I don't know if there's enough room in the Legacy, I'm sure there is.
I know, but he's financing at 1.5%.
So, sweet, yeah man, I mean like 6 cylinders sound beautiful. A little bit of ear sex is definitely nice. And I mean, my Subaru with the equal length header and the full race kit on it sounded pretty good. You know, I liked it sounded good, but it just isn't the same.
No, it's not GT4.
And I definitely want to get more cylinders going in my life. So I think we'll do one with the 7670 on stock internals first, and then I'll bolt on like a G35 1050 or something with forged internals on it next. And I don't think I'll actually do twin turbos on it because I really like the way they sound with like 3 into 2 into 1 header setups on them.
Well, that's kind of like 6 and 1.
They, right, but they sound so fucking good like that. So I want to do.
We have the blower set up.
Yeah, well, kind of. We have to make 2 more runners and then make custom TGVs and.
No, we have 3 runners that come on the engine. Just build a box that goes in the
Oh, you
back.
mean take the whole thing out and do that? Yeah, we can do that. That's a pretty small blower.
Yeah.
But it'd be, I mean, it's good for like 350 to 400 horse,
Perfect.
which would be nice. Actually, it might be a 2.3 liter blower. I don't think so. I think it's smaller.
No, it's smaller than that. Cobra blowers are way bigger. And they're 2.
Sensors need for high mileage cars. I didn't see that question. Sorry, I missed that one.
See you tomorrow.
Yep.
You stopping by tomorrow, Don?
No, I'm helping Dave do the transmission in his
He's gonna be
Duramax.
here to work on his RS.
What are you gonna do? Do it.
Putting the valve body stuff.
Check
Do it. Yeah, basically, and the valve body and all that.
It's pretty easy.
I guess I haven't done it on the Duramax before.
Yeah.
The Allison.
But
Twice?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. He asked me to help him. I'm like, okay, sure.
it's not too bad.
Sensors, high mileage engines, coil packs, mass airflow sensors, sometimes cam sensors, and O2 sensors. Yeah, that's about it, really. The other stuff usually lasts pretty long. Sometimes, however, you can get sensors start picking up noise because they're degrading inside. Bias resistors start to go bad, things like that, and then you'll have them start to pick up a lot of noise, and you know that could be, you know, a map sensor or a TPS, or not usually TPS. There's no like, there's no microprocessors in the TPS circuit. Whereas like a map sensor, you have little microprocessors, or in a mass airflow sensor, and I've shown that in the videos, the insides of them, little chips, little IC chips and everything. O2 sensors, they just get caked up and worn out. The heaters don't work as good. The pumps start to get clogged up and that kind of thing. So those go bad. Coil packs just plain wear out. Internal resistance starts to go up. Spark energy goes down. The core. So like if you look at the coil pack on a Subaru, the metal part, the laminated sheets, right? Those laminated sheets, that's a critical part of the coil itself. Those laminated sheets are conductive, and their job is to couple flux and help guide the magnetic field that the coil uses to produce the spark energy. So when those start to separate, like they do when they start to rust and everything, then they do a poor job at coupling the magnetic flux, and you start to lose spark energy. So if you get rusty coil packs, they're not going to be good, because that steel part there is a critical part of the coil pack. It's not just there to hold it. That's the actual core, the laminated core that is used to transfer magnetic energy inside the coil pack. So when those start to go, the coils go. In addition to the fact they have little chips in them too.
Button, dash cam.
Typically, they're just gonna be like an NPN transistor and some flyback diodes in them because you got to feed a gate signal to a transistor. The gate signal is the ECU signal, and that activates the transistor to charge the primary coil, and then turn off the SCR or or transistor to collapse the primary magnetic field and cause the secondary magnetic field.
I
So
like that.
that's a very generic way of talking about how coils work, but it's something.
So it's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. They also have a Bluetooth.
SVXs right now are
you know the
ridiculously
BGA?
expensive.
Yeah.
So they
Shitty
have
ones
those
that barely
Bluetooth
run
to your phone.
are like $2,000 to $4,000.
So
Good
you don't have
ones
to- you don't
are
have to BGA
like
negative
10
control
to
stupid
30
buttons
right
and
now.
shit
Yeah.
that
Um,
suck. You
It's
can
stupid
just
how
change it on your
much we want
phone
for those
and
cars
it
right
shows
now.
it.
So
Like
I
you
mean,
change
I
the
don't
settings
blame
to
them
your
because
phone,
I
so
sure
you
like
can run it,
mine.
and it's all in there.
I wish
Or
it
you
ran
can
better.
choose your
Well, I wish
phone.
it
Or
ran
you
at
can
all.
use any,
The engine runs, but transmission's
you know,
dead.
tablet or anything
So,
like that, right?
but you know, I definitely want one. I'm gonna do a time attack build on mine eventually. I just finished my
I like
Corvette
the
build,
digital
which is
cluster, and then-
come back apart right now. And then after I finish the RS build, which we're doing right now, then I'm gonna do a time attack build on my, or hill climb build, sorry, on my SVX. So that's next on the list. Say what?
After Carson's finished.
After this, I said after I finish the Vet and after I finish the RS, then I'm doing the.
I have to Carson.
Oh, and you have two cars too to finish. Yeah, you have your Subaru and your Vet as well. Yeah. So, and then we'll do the hill climb SVX, and that's gonna be cool because I'm not gonna give a shit about anything on that. It's gonna be custom fucking everything,
Function only.
completely function. Yeah, absolutely function all day. It's gonna be awesome. I look
I
forward
like
to
that
that.
because you're always like, keep AC, do this, keep that.
Because they always rust out, but engines are fine. I understand the extra one.
See, when he was so-
Yeah, I already have an SVX body, you know, for my build, so I'm not too concerned about that. I just need an engine, and you know, it's great if I get.
Yours doesn't have one in there?
Mine does. Same for a build. I want to do other ones.
Oh, okay, okay.
I had an engine. I sold it to a kid and Tyler, and then he was doing a build in his GC with it, and then all of a sudden he sold it to somebody. Didn't tell me he was fucking selling it, and so I just texted him last night. Hey, what's up with that engine? Oh, I sold it 4 months ago. Motherfucker, damn it! Like,
Yeah.
I'd have bought it back from me. I sold it for $750. I gave him a deal. So maybe it was $800. Whatever it was cheap. It was a good deal.
There's one for 1,200.
So yeah, that's the one that has no harness and whatever. And so Chase is like, I don't know if it even runs. He's being paranoid about it.
Yeah. He was gung ho as shit, and then
Yeah, I know. So, anyways, I'm gonna go call the wife back because she just called me and I missed it. Hope you guys have a good night. And as always, stop by the Discord, hang out, shoot me an email, whatever, and answer questions, teach you tuning, teach you concepts, help you through your divorce, you know, whatever.
so you stop